Hey, what's going on Facebook? This is Nick Hedgepeth. Today we're talking about DJ Facade's. Recently I've had a lot of conversations on Facebook about these. My first one I've made, I had about $65 tied up in it, and it's been really good, but it's time to build one a little bit nicer. I actually have some more tools now, so I'm able to do something nicer. We've had a lot of discussions, like I said, on Facebook, and I really just kind of wanted to show you guys what I was doing. I prefer 1 3/4 inch wood. A lot of people use 4-inch wood and just regular spandex. My first one, actually done a lot of experimenting, and I found that the spandex by itself was just too thin, and you could actually see the light fixture showing through the spandex. So I done a little experimenting, and my remedy was a shower curtain. Believe it or not, I used a frosty white shower curtain, and I backed it behind the spandex, and it was able to give me just the right amount of transparency. And actually the shower curtain makes the facade have more of a glow instead of just sticking a light behind a piece of cloth. So what I've done here on this new frame is I was able to 45 the corners, real clean, nice cuts, something I was not able to do the last time, being I didn't have a lot of good tools to work with. Over here I've got some strips that I've made up, and once I attach the fabric to the frame, I'm going to put these strips over top of the fabric so you won't see any of the rough edges. So just purely cosmetic. It really serves no purpose of sturdiness. Well, actually, I guess it does. It makes it a little stiffer. And that's just about it for this little section of video. Like I said, I'm an amateur at this. I don't really make a lot of videos, but I just wanted to put this out there. Thanks, guys. Enjoy. Okay, so I had to run out to my trailer and grab my old facade just so I can kind of give, show everybody what I've done here. This first one was purely from experimenting. I really liked the facades I was seeing online, and they really looked like something I was interested in, but I couldn't see spending $500 for one. And if I can do something myself and make it look nice, then I'm like everybody else. I want to save a buck or two. This first one, never really intended on using it the whole time, but it's turned out so well that now I can't live without it. It's definitely better than just having a black cloth over a table, or just using whatever the venue gives you to use. So on this one, if you can see on the corners, they're just straight cuts, end to end, nothing fancy. When I cut this, I actually cut it with a skill saw. That's all I had at the time, a skill saw and a jigsaw. But now I have a compound miter saw, and the corners look a lot nicer. On the inside, as I was talking about earlier about shower curtains, this is it. Now around the edges, I used black duct tape, because at the time that's all I had to use, and this was purely an experiment, and it just kind of grew on me. So now that I'm able to kind of go back and redo this, I want to do it right and make it look good, and maybe help some people out along the way, save a few bucks. So this new one, I'm actually going to be using strips to go around the fabric, and that was in my last video. And here's one of the strips right here. When I get done with the new facade, this is basically just going to go right around the edge as so. And I've got some screws that I painted black. It's a little trick I learned right here. Just screw the screws into a piece of wood and spray right across the top of it. If you cannot find any black ones, this is probably the fastest way to make some. Now back over here to the facade for a second. There's been a lot of discussion on Facebook lately. Some of my friends, we've been talking about this. Some people prefer a 4-inch wood, probably pine. I'm not sure what some of the other guys are using, but this is just for 3/4 by 1 3/4 wood that I got from Lowe's. And I used regular door hinges on this first one. And in the middle, I actually pulled a pin out and fold them into 2 halves. But the new one's going to have a piano hinge, so it's basically going to run all the way down the full length of the facade, and it's going to help strengthen the whole setup. As you can see, the shower curtain has some wrinkles. I don't know how good it's showing up on the camera, but this one's been around for about 2 years now. I've been using it, so it's definitely has some road use on it. And as you can see, the fabric does get dirty, and the way this one's set up, it's just, you'd almost have to tear it apart to get the fabric off. But on a new one with these strips, you'll be able to take the screws right out, pull the strips off the back, and pull the whole fabric out, wash it, put it back in. I'm sure there's different methods for doing this, but for your average do-it-yourself person, you know, 65, 70 bucks. Let's just look at it this way: less than 100 bucks, you can make a facade, and you can make as many panels as you want. I just chose to do 4, so 2 panels in the front, 1 on each side. I have a 4-foot table and it fits it pretty nice.